This is the Guthrie Parks Board meeting on July 21st, 6:30. Call this to order.
Actually, it's 6:40, but that's okay.
Oh, well, yeah, it is 6:40. Do we want to do a roll call?
You can.
Do you have the names?
Oh, I'm
Because
sorry.
there's new names.
New names.
Inside the
Van Guthrie,
information packet.
and DeAndre Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, just saw that.
Okay.
Okay, and we do have a quorum.
Sorry about
Okay.
that, probably they got the wrong number. All right.
We have the minutes also. Has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes from the May meeting? Okay. Is there approval for it?
We'll need a,
I motion to approve the minutes.
I second that motion.
Very good. Thank you. Call for a vote. Oh, and all, I guess, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
all opposed?
All opposed?
No.
No.
Minutes are passed.
The minutes are passed. Then we have on the agenda to talk about the, were we gonna,
The discussion and consideration of the continued work on the disc golf course in Highland Park.
okay, I didn't know if we were gonna go, the gentleman behind you.
He's
no,
already
He's
talked.
already talked.
Sorry
Okay.
about it, we can't do anything for him.
Okay.
Okay. Blue, you want to give them a report on where we stand with the disc golf?
Okay, basically what we done, street department went in with the backhoe and then cleared all the brush with the backhoe. I mean with the bulldozer, so the bulldozer work is done. What we're waiting on now is to go in there with the brush off to clear more areas. So once we get that brush off in there to clear the areas, then what we'll be able to do is start going there to trimming the trees and stuff and clearing out the areas to start setting up the course. So once we get that bat wing in there, we'll be able to take the next step to clearing the areas to get it ready to start laying out the course.
Was she able to collect all the money?
That's what I was getting ready to say. We have not heard any more. We asked for information. We told them that they could come to council, and we've heard nothing more. So we're going to proceed because this is something that the citizens seem to want and something that the council seems to want.
And we may bring it back before the council just to give them one last chance to make themselves known and heard on what they're doing on their side with those activities that they had stated they would be providing to us. But like Maxine said, regardless, we'll be going forward and seeing what we can do to put it together. And we still have full support of the actual Disc Golf Association and a couple of their memberships that have continued to help us out as we go through too. So that part of it is still there. So at the end of the day, there may not be a lot of the bells and whistles that have been originally planned for, including sponsorships of holes and all that stuff, but at least there will be holes.
I bet you we can find some sponsors once it gets started.
Yeah, sure.
So, okay, the next item on the agenda is a discussion about the possible action of adding a new swimming pool and water park in Highland.
And this, over to our city manager, Bruce Johnson, to tell us about it.
All right, I'm going to kind of start from the very beginning. In February of this year, the citizens of Guthrie, Oklahoma approved a 3/4 cent capital improvement sales tax. As part of the proposal, during our discussions when we were making presentations on what was going to be part of that capital improvement sales tax, there was a few things that actually came back and were indicated in the parks. One of them was looking at upgrading our baseball and softball fields and making some improvements at our soccer fields also at some point in time here in the future. We're looking at different locations besides the locations that are currently existing for those improvements to be made. We also stated that would be looking at a splash pad. That location is still yet to be determined also, just like the sports complex. But one of the other items too was a new pool for our community. Our existing pool, if you guys have, is a picture there. And Ryan, I'm ready to go for that first picture. When it gets up on the screen, has been in existence since what year, Blue, Maxine? The 1800s?
Actually, I think it's about 1946.
Right.
Something like that, about 1946.
It's time for it. There it is. It's as you guys are well of, it sits right in the middle of Highland Park in our circle as you come in right off of Warner there, and see the tennis courts, and there as you come into that entrance also. We currently contract with the YMCA. They provide personnel, and we go out each and every year and continue to provide the utilities, the paint, and a lot of the infrastructure improvements to keep it up and keep it within code of regulations of the Department of Health. But as in anything, over the years, the Department of Health has come down with new requirements and has put an extra burden on us opening that up each and every year. A lot of that is just because the construction standards back in 1946 are much different than what the construction standards would be now today. So if you go out there and take a look at it, we have kind of an Art Deco building where you come in and you enter, and we have dressing rooms on either side of that. We have some storage down below. Then once you get down to the decking, it's kind of a rather large swimming pool. It's about a 50 meter one type of pool, but the way that the piping is, and the way that we have our filters within the pool in and of itself, doesn't allow for some of the more fun activities that patrons would like to see, including diving boards, including slides, and maybe some of the other features that other communities are now going for in their pools / aquatic centers, wherever they may be. So that's one of the things I think as a community we'd like to upgrade and be a little bit more, I guess, a little bit more about our times, and showing that if you're moving into the community and want to be part of the community and bring your kids here, go to school here, raise a family here, that we have the assets and the infrastructure, just as well as Cushing, Edmond, all those other places right now that are expanding their pools, including Moore. I think they just got through expanding their pool down there too. So that's we can go back to that. There we go. Thanks, Aaron. Right now, what we have existing is our pool, and that's the Art Deco feature that where you come in there. And I just want to kind of give you a layout right now of the rest of what Highland Park is. Go back out to the big picture, Aaron. Thank you. We have the tennis courts right here. Of course, you drive around. We have a basketball court. We have a shelter, and we have a play structure right here. Because of the proximity to the pool and the way it's located, I've been in some conversations with some engineers, Myers Engineering, which is our currently contracted engineer with the city, and also some engineers called Rosen McCurry out of Grove, Oklahoma, who has helped me design and build a pool before. So what we're currently looking at, because I don't like to go back into a pool over an existing hole where a pool has been for the last 60 or 70 years, either going off of either side of it. But as I was looking at that, Aaron, you can go forward to the next one. As I was thinking about it, I was trying to figure out what's the best approach in maybe utilizing the existing structure that we have. There's a couple designs. You'll see this one in Grove, and you'll see another one coming up in the next slide right here, where they actually have that pool separated out. And there's a couple of benefits to having that as a separate area. Go back to the Grove one, Aaron. The previous slide. Thank you. When I constructed this one in Grove, right here we had, of course, shade structures. You have a parking lot over here, This is your new building entrance as you come in. We have concession and lifeguard stands over here. You have a hallway right here. On one side you have female, on the other side male dressing rooms. Everything made out of stainless steel and concrete, so not much cleanup other than running the hose through there. Then once you come out here, you can see where the swimming lanes are. But as you can tell, because of the way that this one's constructed, we kind of had an overlap of activities. One is that I had both a speed slide and I'll guess a more of an open angular slide that's coming here, but they both dump right into where you have lap swimming. So you couldn't have both items going on at the same time. And also our diving boards were down here, and this is where you dove into the deep end of the pool down here. So again, you had to separate the times where people were actually having more of a physical activity than you have a recreational activity. Then the other portion of it that we had designed is that this is all zero entry pool. Currently at our pool, which is required by all pools, is that you still have to make them ADA compliant. We do have a lift. It's a mobile lift that will help those of our clients that have the ADA. But with this is all ADA compliant, so you can just come right in the front door and have access to all the features within the pool. And of course, plenty of shade structures, because at the end of the day, little kids do have parents and grandparents, and they come with them. And it's nice to provide as much shade structure out there as possible. And within this area that you have from the zero entry there's play structures that have slides, mini slides, shoots water, water that is shot out the top and you can run underneath, and some climbing features on it also. And so that pool was built in Grove, I think now 7 years ago, for about $1.5 million. Out of our capital improvement sales tax, I have reserved $2.2 million for our pool and aquatic center. And so we can have something that's probably going to be of similar size. Next slide, Aaron. Go back to the one that's thank you, right there. But because I built the one in Grove from the ground up, and it didn't have a separation, it didn't have an existing pool like this already, what I'm thinking about here, and I finally found this in Tiffany Springs Park, which is in Kansas City, is that we take our existing pool and make that the lap swimming pool, and we may still put some diving boards on the deep end, allowing but we'll probably have to do some additional work on that end of the pool, because again, the way that our filters are taking in water, they jet out away from the wall, and they want us to have a flat wall where people are diving in. I think there's probably a small chance people are going to hit their head, but regardless, that's going to be a requirement by the Department of Health that we do that. So with that being said, if we utilize our existing pool for the lap swimming over here, then that means we can go out here and just have more fun features, more recreational features out in this way. Now, this park right here is a $6.5 million park, and our budget of $2 million is not going to allow us nearly the size or the number of features they have in this park. But as a concept, I want to provide that to you guys so you can see that we may differentiate the area between what we do as a recreational pool and what we do actually as more of an exercise or activity pool right there. Go back to the original slide, Aaron, just to overview Highland Park. Thank you. So with that being said, there's some logistical issues at Highland Park currently. There's a hill right here that goes all the way down from the tennis courts into our pool. So just for logistical purposes and probably ease and convenience, we'll probably end up constructing the other portion of that pool up here. And that's what I'll indicate, if you guys agree, is that we'll end up probably taking out a shelter and the basketball courts and that area, and we'll reconstruct them in another section of the area, because we still need shelters out there. And the basketball court is actually an asphaltic basketball court, which I hate asphalt basketball courts. I'd much rather them be concrete. It's just
a lot nicer on your tennis shoes, a lot nicer on falling when you get when you actually get picked too hard or fouled too hard underneath the basket. Falling on asphalt is not quite as fun playing basketball. So we'll look at this area, and we'll look at coming back in and reconstructing or rehabbing this pool to meet Department of Human, the Department of Human Services. What? No, it's not the Department of Health. I knew it was DHS. Department of Health regulations. The good thing about this pool is that all the heart and all the infrastructure and all the pumps of the pool in this pool house are relatively new. They've been constructed, within the last 5 to 10 years, wasn't it? But I think that's 2. Oh, there you go. So it's been 2 years old, which makes it something that can probably be utilized going well into the future. We do have some issues with the decking. It's older, and we do have some issues with the bottom of the pool. Blue's out there every year painting it, and because of its age, that concrete has expanded, and in areas where it does leak. So we're going to take a look at what we can do in order to go back in there and resurface it so we don't have as many leaks. Blue and I've had a few discussions about this. That existing building is out there. Probably just needs to be turned over into an area where they can house all of our equipment to take care of that park. Right now we have to ship that in on the back of trailers each and every time we do work out there. And because of its age also, it's best just to kind of open up the space and the walls in there and allow us to store equipment in there, including maybe for the future pool, but for the rest of the park also. Aaron, go ahead a couple slides. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about differentiations of what we do recreational. This particular one, Tiffany Springs, has a lazy river, has a little whirlpool in here, has a couple different slides, but you can, and then they have the zero entry up here from the very top, and the play structures for the kids that are usually under the age of 5 up there in that area. I like the concept. They make everything age appropriate, and they separate those different areas. So instead of sliding into the deep end or sliding into where people are doing lap swimming or wanting to have water aerobics or whatever it may be, they actually have its own pool for it. Then you can just get right back out and go back up and down the slides. Again, we'd like to look at having a couple of different slides just to have different experiences while you're out there. But ours won't be quite that large. But we'll try to look at, again, putting in as many of these features for the smaller children and for the larger children also as we go forward with our concept. Go ahead and go forward with another slide there, Aaron. Again, these are the types of features that you would have in the shallow zero entry in. And again, another picture of the slides is people can come in and you can actually see the differentiations of one of those. So when it comes to all the features, when it comes to all the equipment, what we're going to try to do is put as many items in there for what our budget will allow, and kind of go from there. Can you go to the Bank of Oklahoma picture, Aaron? Okay, this is a conversation I had with Joe when I first got out there. I had issues is that if we're going to be doing new construction in a park that's over 100 years old, and we have sandstone both at Highland Hall and as our entryway, what we can do to make the new pool house as close as matching to what we're doing. And I was racked my brain over this for months, and I hadn't found anything. And certain someone over here, Superman, came and goes, "Bruce, send me a text," and he goes, "I found something." So. And I agree with him, is that there's 2 Bank of Oklahoma buildings that are in Edmond right now. I think this one is 15th and Santa Fe, and the other one is 14th and Santa Fe. And they both have this structure, these types of brick that look like sandstone.
Yeah.
And I think will match very closely to what we have in there. Because otherwise, I'd have to look at maybe doing a brick just like City Hall. And we had one other building I know that we built that was out of brick. And but until I saw this, I got excited that we'll take a look at and try to keep the actual construction materials as close as we can to what Highland park and Highland Hall represents to the community. So, we got any other slides there, Aaron, that I provided to you? You can flip through them and I'll tell you. Keep going. See if you got anything else. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Okay. So, yeah, that's good. And so that's kind of the presentation I want to make for you guys tonight, and see if you guys like that idea. If you do, we'll take a motion and an action item just saying to proceed forward with that concept. It's nothing that we have in stone right now that this is going to be the pool that Guthrie's going to have, but I will be shooting for us to have it designed within the next 6 months, then construction to take place, so we can have a new pool open for the public in the summer of 2018. Because it will still take a year and a half for us to construct that going forward. But during our refinance of our water treatment plant back in this spring, we also borrowed an additional $2.2 million in order to start this project. The cash is in the bank, it's ready to go. I will have a agreement to engineer and design on the next council meeting if you guys so desire to move forward with this type of concept and this type of pool. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
Will the pool, if it's gonna take a year and a half, will the pool be closed next year then?
Maybe, not next year, but at some point in time we'll try to do that construction for that portion of it during the off times.
Okay.
For the 3 months. We'll still continue to try to keep our existing pool open and do the renovations on it if necessary outside that scope, so we still have what we have on our existing pool. There will be questions too also about the operational cost of the pool, because we're obviously going to be expanding up. Right now, it costs the city in the neighborhood of about $20,000 to run each and every year. Essentially, all the admission fees that go into out there cover personnel costs, which we have a contract with the YMCA, and that's typically a break-even point. In Grove, our original pool looked a lot like the one we have now. It was in a state park, and it had about the same revenues and expenditures as we do have right now. Once we open it back up, we started selling season passes. Family of 5 can come in and pay $400 for the entire summer, and our revenues went up to about $75,000, $77,000 a year. But our expenditures are also about $125,000 a year, because it takes more people, more equipment, more chemicals, more utilities to run those all. So we were operating in a deficit of about $50,000 a year, about $50,000 a year. Right now we're at $20,000 already. So I just got to be able to find that extra $30,000 in our budget every year to look at to operating it going forward.
Will that include raising admission out there?
It will be.
I don't like that.
Well, I understand that completely, but that's what happens with communities. If you go down to Moore, they had to raise their fees. If you raise your fees, probably in Cushing too, we won't be above market rate. We'll be at market rate as if you went to any other facility of like kind in our area.
I feel like all the parks belong to everyone, and personally, I think it ought to be zero admission, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's public land, belongs to everybody, you know. I don't like seeing an increase there at all. I like
much do
the
we pay
proletariat.
now?
It's $3.
$3?
$3, so what would it go to? About what?
We'll have to figure out what it's going to be, but it won't be too much above that.
That one in Kansas City you're showing is $8 or $10.
Yeah, but then again, that one is a $6.5 million facility too, and the number of people that go there may be that, and I don't know what their policies are concerning night swims, allowing to have parties, allowing people to use that for birthday issues, parties, then use them at night after hours in order to also have corporate parties there too. I've done that at other facilities, and we make them pay a premium to bring back in and open it up for people to utilize that. And I completely understand that parks and services and programs should all be free to all people, but we don't happen to live in that perfect world, and especially in rural Oklahoma, that's impossible, because otherwise I'll be taken away from police and fire.
And as a city manager, I always make sure that I balance what's necessary out there. And my responsibility always, first and foremost, is to keep you guys safe and to make sure that when you guys call 911, someone shows up, they're trained, they're well equipped, and can take care of your problem. And it's not that Parks and Recreations are way down here on my list. You guys provide the quality of life, but it's the balance that I have to strike in providing all the service we can. And the fact is, at the end of the day, cities are run by sales tax, and sales tax in our community, we lose a lot of it to Edmond, Stillwater, Oklahoma City, and Tulsa. So in order to have the services and programs, we still have a community have to pay for them. So.
I also don't like you're taking away part of the square footage of a fairly small park as it is, and something that's not going to be utilized 9 months out of the year. So, you know, if somebody wants to go out there and throw a football around or a frisbee around or something, and you're taking that away,
we're definitely
increasing the cost of.
We're definitely helping out on the frisbee of it because we're creating this golf course out there. There's also a lot of open area that's we have 56 acres out there, and we're not utilizing it all right now, and we're opening it all up. So all the area around the Girl Scout house right now, there could be we'll be having conversations with you guys about how we should be utilizing that space. We're not near even close to running out of space in Highland Park. So all of the different services, programs, and activities you guys want to see are still available to us out there. I would agree with you if we had a limited footprint. We don't have a limited footprint. We have all kinds of vacant footprints.
Just going off the pictures of this one in Kansas City, I mean, wow, dude, that's too big, really.
Well,
Oh, I agree. It is too big. I agree. It
I'd like
won't
to
be
see
that
a
size.
proposal of what we're looking at
Well,
before
you
I
would-
agree to
And-
saying yes or no.
Yeah, well, what we're talking about here tonight is just the concept of the new pool. And the actual designs and the actual size of it all is going to be forthcoming because we have to actually get into the engineering and the architecture of it all. So, more than anything else, I just wanted to give you guys an idea of exactly what we'd like to be shooting for, because if you don't have that conversation about what we want, then we would never know how to put it on paper and present it back to you.
Right.
I like the idea of this, whatever, the slides and everything separate from where
Yes.
the adult swim is.
And I like the idea that it'll be ADA compliant. That's,
Right.
That's.
Because I see some of the ladies trying to get out of our pool.
Those steps are killer.
Those steps are
Yeah.
killer
Yeah.
if you've got a bad knee.
Something needs to be done out there, there's no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
But they've got I do see the people in the wheelchairs able to get in, and I like that.
And I see it attracting more people.
I
It
do
will,
too.
and that's the big thing right now is that you have a particular piece of equipment that has lived its life. I mean, from 1946 to now, it's lived its useful life and has tried to utilize it in the best way, shape, or form possible. But we're also in competition. At the end of the day, we have to provide amenities to people what they expect now because people vote with their feet. And at the end of the day, if you had a chance to buy a house in Edmond or a house in Stillwater, you're going to compare what the school districts are for your children. And then at the end of the day, also, you're going to go around and go, where do they play ball? What are they going to be doing in the summertime when they're out of school? And if we don't have those amenities other communities have, they're going to continue to move outwards, and thereby increasing the cost of living for all of us because we're not distributing those costs outwards.
And our pool does need to be redone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very nice, but it still needs to be redone.
And I will state this, is that I've been in conversation with some council members, and I'll probably end up bringing back two options for you guys. One that will get as much as we can out of that $2 million, and we may have one that's a smaller scale model too, that maybe is going through there and doing stuff that might not be quite as elaborate, but I definitely want to have at least two options out there for us and see where we're going to proceed from there.
And we can maybe save some money on that. And because somebody mentioned the Highland Hall, that also, in my opinion, needs to be renovated. It's old, and I know that there was a few years that we have our family reunions there, and we rent out the area. But maybe if we can, you may have mentioned about Highland Hall.
I haven't, but we do have money set aside for that also.
Okay, is it okay?
Yeah, because that's
We'll
we have
talk
quite
about
a few
that, I'm
senior.
guessing, at a later
Yeah, we have
date.
quite a few senior programs that are ran out of Highland Hall,
Okay.
and there was money within that capital improvement sales tax for senior activities.
motion? Do we need to
Go-
I'm not sure, I
go
might have
forward?
another question or two.
Oh, well,
from
go
our
ahead.
City manager here before we go. So what kind of increase are you thinking on admission out there? Because the reason why I ask is, we say, well, yeah, it may increase people coming to that because it's something new. But, I mean, then again, there's some people on the edge around here. I mean, if
that's
someone
some.
has
We
to
got a lot-
drop
we got a lot.
$100 to go down there,
Yep.
that's not right, you know? You don't gain any additional.
I can't give you the exact, because
On the whitewater bank.
I can't tell you exactly because of all the different variables that are here, between here and our design, and from our design to our construction. Because if we're looking at utilizing the pumps that we have currently existing, then I already know what those existing costs are. If I'm gonna have a second set of pumps, that means that there's gonna be a second set of costs for that. How am I gonna treat that water, as how am I gonna treat with the other water? And finally, at the end of the day also, is just what those pumps and equipments are gonna end up costing us, along with what amenities we have within the actual pool house in and of itself also. So I try to take that all into consideration before we set the rate, so those are the last things that we're gonna be doing. But it's because there's so many variables between here and there. I can say that I've done it before, and I can tell you what all those rates are, but our circumstance is not gonna be the exact circumstance of Tiffany Springs or Grove or any other pool that we had.
I just don't want to see any citizens losing access or having to, decide I can go twice a week or once a month to hang out at the pool that's provided by the city for their enjoyment.
But in the towns that I've lived in, we've always had to have, if it was in a neighborhood, it was in with our HOH
Yeah,
fees.
you pay for it.
And guests had to pay or had to be part of,
Mm-hmm.
with the family. And then in the cities, you always had to pay.
Yeah, I
And-
mean,
and I've always.
I've been in the business for 20 years, there's not one city that doesn't lose money on pools. I mean,
no, it's not to make money.
and all they do is to help cover some of those costs that go into operating a pool.
And maybe, I don't know if this is an option, because I know that YMCA offers programs for individuals and families who are low income.
No.
But maybe if we can think about what we can do for those persons here in Guthrie that just don't have it. But they want to go out and have a quality time with their kids, but they don't want to pay $10 a person to go enjoy themselves.
We currently have that right now at our existing pool, as that Y members get a discounted rate. And there are programs within the YMCA that allow people to make application to waive even those fees. We will be in conversations with the YMCA throughout this project to see if that's something that's still viable for them going forward. They do operate a large pool facility at Mitchell Park in Edmond. So I know that our greater Oklahoma City YMCA does have experience in that area. We'll just have to see how that particular relationship will work with us up here in Guthrie, because they also have a lot of relationships with the school district down there also. They have their own swimming programs, competitive swimming programs down there, and actually hold meets and everything like that that help pay for some of those activities also. But when it comes to low and moderate income personnel, definitely understand that. Our community right now is 52%, 52% LMI, low to moderate income. So majority of our residents are that way, and I definitely understand that, and we'll take that into consideration.
Okay, because I just brought that up. I'm a member of the YMCA, and there are some persons who just can't afford the YMCA.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
I mean, you get what I'm saying here? So I just thought maybe we can think about that, but thank you.
Yeah, and it's and about the YMCA also is that the city has already been in cooperation with them at their existing facility. If you guys go down there right now, that second floor that has been renovated for a youth / teen area that they can go to after school and get them off the streets, allow them to go in a place to play, do their homework, and
a place for the bikes.
very much
So we
so.
don't have to move them in and out.
And so anyway, that was a cooperation between the YMCA capital campaign and the city of Guthrie. So,
Okay, thank you.
So I was out there today and I talked to some staff. There's about 100 kids out there. They were all having a good time. I just hate to see it gentrified to where it's there's not that many.
I don't think it would. I think it would be better. I think it would
Yeah.
I think it would make the kids, more kids come.
Yeah. A lot of our families travel out of town right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they go to Whitewater,
Whitewater, that's what
Yeah.
they do.
they go down to Mitch Park.
Oh, they go to Cushing?
Yeah, they go to Cushing, they go to Kingfisher.
Yeah, they will.
So Kingfisher's big.
Because our pool is old.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to the pool. Something needs done out there, there's no doubt about it.
But my concern, and I understand your concern, is you want it to be accessible for all persons who are paying tax money to Guthrie, okay? Who are natives of Guthrie. I'm a native of Guthrie. So the park to us is like a member of the family.
Sure.
It's always been there. And we know that it's one of the few recreational activities available to us and the families here in Guthrie. So we just want to make sure that it's going to be for everyone. And when I say for everyone, I mean as far as cost
Sure.
is concerned.
I understand.
But we want to also realize that it takes money, okay, and nothing is free, okay. But we want to, you know.
I had a city council member in Grove that explained it to me in the best way, shape, or form, is that if you do a seasonal pass, that's cheaper than a babysitter.
Yeah.
It really is.
You're right about that.
And then what, he had a lot of concerns about us building and how it's gonna be operating and everything like that. And one day he was sitting there putting pen to paper and he goes, "This is cheaper than me to buy than me for a babysitter for my kids all summer long. You can really just buy a pass and sit in there and they're taken care of 8 hours a day. You know, so it's essentially 7 days a week."
Any more questions?
I'd like to see the final whenever it comes through, but I'll make a motion to.
It'll come back to
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
So-
But what we want to do now is just proceed with the concept.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I will make a motion for us to proceed with the concept of the proposed swimming pool for Highland Park.
Perfect.
And I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Any opposed?
Thank you guys very much. I'll be bringing something back to you here for Jill. Oh, my council first.
And thank you
They
so
will.
much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you for that picture.
Huh?
Lifesaver on the picture.
Oh,
For staff reports?
Do you have anything?
Yeah, I do. This week was Mission Guthrie 2016, First Christian Church, and a lot of the members came out. They came from Guthrie, Edmond, Cherokee, Oklahoma. They helped us paint pavilions, gazebo, in Highland Park, cleaning pavilion, trimmed hedges and bushes, planted flowers at the flower bed at the swimming pool.
Nice.
They done a nice job. I mean, it was a
Wonderful.
great day.
They called us.
They called us.
I'll tell you, Nikki, and they done a great job. And so we want to thank First Christian Church and their members because it gave us a lot of help, and you can see the difference when you go through the park.
It was First Christian Church here in Guthrie.
Oh, yes.
How many
Who's the
years
pastor
was it?
there?
We probably might have started off with around 10, but we might have ended up with about 20
Oh, good.
before it was
I'll
over.
have you give me those so I can put it in the minutes.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, because
That's really good.
maybe a thank you note or something
Oh,
should
absolutely.
go.
We'll definitely send them a thank you
Yeah.
note. That's,
Yeah.
that's,
So, I mean, it
Tell
was a
them how
good
much we
day.
Yeah.
appreciate that.
we do that.
Yeah.
We like to do that.
Okay, anybody else?
Well, the only thing I have is to let my boards know that I will be retiring in the next 6 months. I haven't got a finalized date. I just told my people yesterday. But it will be good. We will have somebody to present to you all that will be sponsors. The Guthrie Public Works Authority sponsors the Parks Board, and we sponsor the Forestry Board because they're very tied closely together. So, but I'll be here for a few more meetings. We'll see. And we're very happy to have our new members,
Yes.
and
Happy
we're
to be
looking
here.
forward to having another one. The mayor wanted to be sure that Mrs. Lucina wasn't going to come back, and and she's not. So we're going to, he's going to appoint somebody else. So then we'll have a full house.
Oh, good, that's good. You know, I have a question. I'm sorry, it's so
That's
quick.
okay.
A lot of parks have Wi-Fi to where the community can come and where, you know, while the kids are swimming and doing, you can get on Wi-Fi. How ideal do you think that would be for
Well,
us?
that's something that I can talk to Bruce about. I don't know what kind of cost that would involve. We've had some problems just being able to connect our remote areas with our system here. The library has a Wi-Fi, but it's been a little bit difficult to get it all together. And I'm not, believe me, I'm not electronic. I can work my own things, but as far as how you get it there and all, I'm not sure. But I will find that out for you.
Okay.
And
Just a question, you know.
yeah,
Right.
well,
And
that's-
We've been trying to link the cemetery to City Hall, you know, because we haven't been able to connect to see, you know, from cemetery to City Hall to get connected. So we kind of isolated out there to being connected to everything up here. And so they've been working on ways to get it where we can see one another, to link
Right,
everything
so-
together. So
I'll bring this up and have something to report back to you the next, in October.
Okay.
September's the next meeting, yes. So, but we thank you for your service, we thank you for your interest, because that's what it takes to make a good,
That's right.
good community.
That's right.
So,
Okay.
thank you.
Is there anything else?